Hey everybody, Dr. Rock here. Originally, this was going to be a short, but my writing got out of hand and it had to be like this. With the 2026 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, or as I call them, the Woke and Roll Hall of Fame nominations having just been announced, I wanted to delve a little into the woke influences involved in the choosing of rock artists in comparison to woke choices of artists in, say, the National R&B Hall of Fame or the Country Music Hall of Fame, or even the World Music Hall of Fame. Granted, rock music was started by blues, R&B, and country artists like Chuck Berry, Little Richard, Buddy Holly, Elvis Presley, Jerry Lee Lewis, Bill Haley, Ray Charles, etc. That's where influences come in, and musical influences. And I don't count them in my statistics. But the coolest thing about rock and roll is that nobody from my generation cared about race or gender. Black artists, Hispanic artists, female artists, it didn't matter. We loved Hendrix, we loved Santana, we loved Pat Benatar, it didn't matter. All that mattered was the music good, and is it rock and roll? If you recall, the Beatles refused to perform in segregated concert venues. Buddy Holly was mistakenly booked at the Apollo Theater in Harlem as the promoters thought he was black. He performed anyway and was quite successful there. Elton John and David Bowie both performed on the TV show Soul Train because they had hit R&B songs. No one said boo about it. There are so many complaints from industry insiders and outsiders that there aren't enough female artists in the Hall of Fame or artists of different races and nationalities. Look, let's be honest, okay? This isn't a racial thing, this is fact. As soon as the Beatles and the Beach Boys took over pop music in the mid-60s, the genre definitely became dominated by white male musicians. So the LA Times complaining that there are too many older male whites inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I mean, from 1964 until, today, most rock was written and performed by Caucasian bands and singers. I don't care if it's grunge, alternative, heavy metal, punk, psychedelic rock, progressive rock, glam rock, shock rock, classic rock. It's all rock and all heavily dominated by white male artists. So obviously there's going to be more white male artists in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, or should be. It's a fact, Jack. Obviously, amazing artists like Prince, Jimi Hendrix, Bob Marley, Michael Jackson made rock music as good as anyone else, but we're talking percentages, okay? The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has inducted 254 performers. I'm only talking about performers. We're not counting the musical influencers or the singles categories, just performers. Of those 254 performers, 35 are female. Groups only count as one, which comes to 13%. Rap and R&B artists, not counting the early artists like Chuck Berry and those folk, not counting those early artists that helped form rock and roll, so say post-Beatles, numbers 73 artists, which comes to 28%. That means over a quarter of the artists in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame are not rock musicians. In the National R&B Hall of Fame, there have been 205 artists inducted. 54 are female, 26%, but it goes all the way back to Billie Holiday and Ella Fitzgerald and Mahalia Jackson. Ironically, Janet Jackson is not an inducted member, nor Mary J. Blige, nor Mariah Carey, who will be inducted this year. I'm almost positive. Mariah Carey, one of the greatest R&B singers of all time, but both are and will be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Rap and hip-hop artists in the National R&B Hall of Fame, 0. Yet no one complains about that. And as far as rock artists go, there are 8. And they're all from the early days of rock, except the most recent. The most recent is Hall & Oates. That's 0.03%. No Elton John, no Beatles, or any other rock artists that got songs atop the R&B music charts. Country Music Hall of Fame, 158 inducted. 22 are female, 14%, almost the same as the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame percentage. Dixie Chicks aren't in, nor is Carrie Underwood. And 2 rock artists, that would be Elvis and Jerry Lee Lewis, that's 0.012%, and 0 R&B artists, There are black country artists in the Hall of Fame, but only if they played country music. Now, this isn't racism or sexism. What female rock stars have not been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame already? I can only think of a couple off the top of my head. Bjork, who's wonderful, but rock, I don't know. Courtney Love, and don't get me started with acts like Mariah Carey, not a rock singer at all. Of course, that bridge has already been crossed, as we've already inducted Whitney Houston and Mary J. Blige and many other pop singers who wouldn't know a rock song if they actually recorded them. So I got to give props to Dolly Parton, who, when she was told she was going to be nominated, said she didn't want to be. And they said, tough, we're going to nominate you anyway. And when she got inducted, you know what she did? She immediately went out and recorded a rock album. I mean, it sickens me to think that Lady Gaga could be inducted into the Hall of Fame before Blue Oyster Cult, Boston, Styx, Supertramp, The Monkees, Jethro Tull, and on and on. All these great artists from the 70s that made rock what it was are still not in, and it's just because there's too many older white men in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Ironically, the only two Western rock artists in the World Music Hall of Fame are Ry Cooder and, get ready for this, Ian Anderson, the leader and writer of Jethro Tull's stuff. Go figure. I don't know. I think what they should do is start over. Call what the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is right now, which is the Pop Music Hall of Fame, and start a new Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and add one. Yes, you have to have been in the business for 25 years, but add another one, meaning you've had to have had 5 rock hits in the top 10 songs in any single country, so that you can't get it for like having one song that hits top 10 in 5 different countries. I think that would be good. So I'll come back with my thoughts about the actual nominees later this week, but please like and subscribe and watch my shorts when they come up. Watch, not wash. I appreciate you for getting all the way through my talk. I'm feeling better just for sharing. So let the Woke and Roll Hall of Fame know how you feel about it, because it's not right. And with that, I'll go.